At 2 in the morning on April the 28th, a phone rang in Jerusalem. The man who answered it was Benjamin Netanyahu. The man on the other end was not a head of state. He was not a general. He was not an intelligence chief. He was a mid-level Iranian diplomat. And he was calling from a number that officially does not exist. What was said in the next 11 minutes has not been reported by any major news outlet. But three separate sources, one in Ankara, one in Doha, one inside the Israeli Prime Minister's office, have confirmed the same thing. And when that call ended, Netanyahu made one decision that changes everything about what happens next in this war. Stay with me. Because by the end of this video, you are going to understand something that most people, including most journalists, do not yet know. Before we go further, I need to give you one piece of context, because without it, nothing that follows makes sense. For the last 6 weeks, the ceasefire between the United States and Iran has been held together by one assumption. That assumption is this: Israel and Iran are not talking to each other. Publicly, they are at war. Netanyahu has called Iran an existential threat to the Jewish state. Iran's supreme leader Khamenei has called Israel a cancer that must be removed. And yet, quietly, through back channels, through intermediaries in Qatar and Turkey and Switzerland, both sides have been sending messages. This is not unusual. During the Cold War, the United States and the Soviet Union maintained back channels even during the Cuban Missile Crisis. During every Middle East war of the last 50 years, back-channel communication has run parallel to the fighting. What is unusual, what makes the 2 a.m. phone call different, is what Netanyahu agreed to. Here is what the sources say happened. The Iranian diplomat, whose name I am not publishing because doing so would endanger him, presented Netanyahu with a single proposition. Not a peace deal. Not a ceasefire extension. Not a prisoner exchange. One proposition. 3 sentences long. The proposition was this: Iran will not target Israeli infrastructure, its power grid, its desalination plants, its northern cities, for the remainder of the U.S.-Iran ceasefire window. In exchange, Israel will halt its airstrikes on Lebanese territory for 72 hours. And during those 72 hours, a specific Iranian military commander, one of 3 people inside the IRGC who still has the authority to order a strike on Israel, will quietly leave his post. Now let me explain why that third condition is the one that matters. Because the first 2, no Iranian strikes on Israel, no Israeli strikes on Lebanon, those are the kind of things diplomats say to make a deal sound balanced. The third condition is the real deal. The IRGC commander in question, I will call him Commander X because his name is classified at the highest levels, is the man that Western intelligence has identified as the single biggest obstacle to a lasting peace in this region. He is not loyal to President Pezeshkian. He is not loyal to the Supreme Leader's public position. He answers to a faction inside the Revolutionary Guard that believes the only acceptable outcome of this war is the permanent closure of the Strait of Hormuz and the economic collapse of the Gulf states. Getting him out of his post, even temporarily, changes the internal power balance inside the IRGC. And Netanyahu agreed. Now I want to stop here, because I know what some of you are thinking. You are thinking, how does this affect me? How does a phone call at 2 in the morning between 2 people I will never meet change my energy bill, my petrol price, my mortgage rate? Here is how. The Strait of Hormuz is still operating below 30% of normal capacity. Every day that it stays at 30%, the global oil market is short approximately 4 million barrels. That shortfall is what is keeping oil above $90 a barrel. That oil price is what is keeping your petrol prices elevated. It is what is keeping your energy bills higher than they were 18 months ago. It is what is keeping inflation sticky in the UK, the US, and every country that imports energy. Now, if the Netanyahu phone call leads to what the sources believe it will lead to, the removal of Commander X, the reduction of IRGC hardliner influence, the possibility of a genuine ceasefire extension, then the Strait reopens. Not immediately, not in days, but within 2 to 3 weeks. And when the Strait reopens, fully, not at 30%, oil traders know what happens. Oil falls, fast and far. The last time we saw a genuine de-escalation signal in this war, oil dropped 9% in a single session. 9% on a $90 barrel is $8. An $8 drop in oil flows through to your petrol price in approximately 10 to 14 days. In the UK, that is roughly 8 to 12 pence per liter at the pump. In the US, that is roughly 25 cents per gallon. That is the real-world consequence of a phone call at 2 in the morning. So where does this go from here? There are 3 scenarios, and I'm going to give you the honest probability of each one. Scenario 1, the deal holds. Probability, 40%. Commander X leaves his post. The 72-hour Israeli halt in Lebanon holds. The IRGC moderates gain enough internal ground to push for a genuine ceasefire extension. Oil falls. The Strait reopens. Your bills ease. This is the scenario the markets are quietly pricing in. It is not the consensus view, but it is being taken seriously in Riyadh, in Ankara, and inside the US Treasury. Scenario 2. The deal partially holds. Probability, 45%. Commander X leaves his post, but the vacuum he leaves is filled within days by an equally hardline figure. The 72-hour halt in Lebanon collapses when Israel conducts a targeted strike it defines as defensive. Iran uses that strike as justification to resume low-level hostilities. The Strait stays at 30%. Oil stays above $90. Your bills stay high. This is the most likely outcome. It is a grinding, painful middle scenario where nothing gets much better and nothing gets catastrophically worse. Scenario 3. The deal collapses entirely. Probability, 15%. Commander X refuses to leave. The Iranian diplomat who made the call is exposed, either by a leak inside the IRGC or by Israeli intelligence that decides exposing the channel is more valuable than protecting it. Netanyahu faces a political crisis at home. Iran withdraws from all back-channel communication. In this scenario, the next escalation comes within weeks. The IRGC resumes targeting Gulf infrastructure. Oil moves toward $120, and Trump faces a choice he has been trying to avoid: escalate militarily, or accept a ceasefire that looks like a defeat. Here's what I want you to take away from this. The geopolitical situation in the Middle East is not frozen. It is moving every day, in backrooms and on encrypted phones and in conversations that never appear in any newspaper. The phone call at 2 in the morning matters, not because it will definitely produce peace, but because it tells you something important. Both sides are still talking, and as long as both sides are still talking, the worst-case scenario, the one where oil hits $200 and your heating bill doubles and the global recession begins, is not inevitable. That is not nothing. In a crisis like this one, that is actually a great deal. If this video helped you understand what is actually happening, not the headline version, but the real version, then subscribe. Because every day I publish the thing that the news channels are not telling you. And if you have been following this series from the beginning, from Operation Epic Fury in February, through the Islamabad talks, through the naval blockade, then you know that on this channel, we do not guess. We follow the sources, we follow the money, and we follow the Strait. I will see you tomorrow.